It's our understanding that one of the jurors may have an issue with time. We are all willing to come earlier if it is possible.
Let me tell you.
We're willing to accommodate that in any way possible to
Okay.
make this easier.
You bring up something that I was going to discuss with you anyway. Today or tomorrow and Friday, you could come at. You want to come at 9:30 tomorrow morning? Just hear me out. Hear me out though. I'm gonna. I can end my docket tomorrow at 9:30. I started at 8:30, so we'll end it at 9:30, so we can get started at 10. What I'm trying to do next week, I've already locked my dockets. No more cases can be set until on my morning dock. I'm trying to get a couple of judges to handle a couple of days next week of my morning docket so we can start right at 9 o'clock. Okay? I know we have the issue here. What I normally do is I normally always end right around 5 o'clock. I think I mentioned it during jury selection that if a witness ends at 4:45, we're done. I'm not putting another witness on at 4:45. Sometimes we'll have a witness on and it'll be 5 o'clock and counsel will say, well, we only have 10 more minutes or 15 minutes. Now, ordinarily, we're making them come back for 15 minutes. However, I understand the issue with, the having to pick up your daughter. And you said that's every day, correct? So, what's that?
Monday through Friday.
Okay. And they go to school out in...
Cold Springs.
Okay. And there would be no way that next week, I'm not asking you to do anything this week, is there any way that, like, next week you could possibly have someone pick up your child or no?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then what we can do is, here's what we'll do. I'll cut the docket off tomorrow at 9:30 because I have this window on Friday. You're not going to be here till the afternoon because I have 100 and some cases in the morning. So I can just take the 110 and make it 120 if I have to move people from tomorrow till Friday. So plan on being here. If you get here, 9:15, something like that, take your time, have some coffee or whatever. I'll throw everybody out at 9:30 and we'll start rocking and rolling, okay? And if you could check into that for next week, I would appreciate it. Okay? All right, State, call your next witness, and what we're going to do with this witness is, sorry, I just wanted to see you jump up and down. What we're going to do with this witness is we're going to do the State's direct testimony, and then we'll adjourn, and tomorrow we'll start with the defense questioning. Now, State, you may stand up and call your next witness.
Thank you. State from Melanie Poluso.
Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name and spell your last name, please.
Melanie Poluso, P-E-L-U-S-O.
State and may inquire.
Good afternoon, Officer Poluso. How are you today? Where do you work?
Miramar Police Department.
How long have you worked for the Miramar Police Department?
I've been there now for 10 years.
What different hats have you worn while working there?
Prior to becoming a patrol officer, I used to do crime scene.
How long did you do crime scene?
I did that for 7 years.
And what types of training and education do you have before you became a crime scene technician?
I have an associate degree in criminal justice minor in crime scene. I had in-house training, and I've taken numerous courses for crime scene.
And at what point did you become a sworn law enforcement officer as a patrol deputy or officer?
About 4 years ago.
So back on April 25th of 2014, how were you employed?
I was a crime scene technician.
Did you have an occasion at approximately 10:04 p.m. to respond to 8516 Miramar Parkway, or 8516 Claridge Drive?
Yes.
And what was the purpose for you to respond there?
I got called out to a stabbing.
Did you know at that point whether or not an individual had died?
Not at that point. I did not know till afterwards.
Objection, call for hearsay.
Sustained, go ahead.
And as to, do you recall exactly what time you got to the scene?
It was about almost 11, a little under 11.
Does Miramar have a policy with regard to the amount of time you have to respond to a scene?
Around probably about an hour or so to get there.
So were you there within an hour of being called out?
Yes, I was.
When you arrived on scene, who did you make contact with?
It was Officer Yama and Detective Bergeron.
And what, if any, purpose is it that you speak to these two officers?
They basically briefed me on what had occurred and walked me through the scene.
Did you request assistance?
Yes, I called a crime scene technician Cruz to assist me.
And is that who we just heard from a couple of moments ago in court?
Yes.
As part of your job and training as a crime scene technician on this incident on April 25th of 2014, what did you do?
I started with documentation. I took pictures of the whole scene. I took close-ups of evidence, collected evidence.
That's a lot of information, so let me pause right there. You said you did documentation of the scene.
Yes.
Let's start with some of that. Officer Poluso, I'm now showing you a couple of different items for identification purposes only. State speed for identification purposes. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
How do you recognize that?
It's a C has my initials on it.
Did you have an opportunity to review that before coming to court today?
Yes, I did.
And what is on that CD?
These are the photos of the crime scene I took. I'm
And
sorry, these are the photos of the evidence from the crime scene.
the evidence from the crime scene. And I'm now showing you it's been previously marked as State's Composite C. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
And what are those?
These are all the photographs that I took in the lab of the evidence that I collected.
Are the 86 photos in front of you there the same photos that are on State's B for identification purposes?
Yes, they are.
Here at this time, the state would request to move State's B in as State's 3 and State's Composite C as State's 4.
We do have an objection, Judge, may I consent vote?
Okay, with the discussion we had on that sidebar, I am going to overrule the objection. Go ahead.
And so, Judge, if that, the state was at the point of admitting State's B in as State's 3 and State's Composite C as State's 4.
Go ahead. Be admitted.
And Officer Poluso, I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as State's D for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
It's the photo CD of from the photos of the crime scene.
I know you've been up a little bit. If you need water or anything, please let me know.
It's been a long day.
I know. And did you have a chance to review those items?
Yes, I have.
And is that your initials and date on there?
Yes, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately represent the photos you took on April 25th of 2014?
Yes, they do.
Now showing you it's been previously marked as State's Composite E, 65 photos for identification purposes only. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
Are those the photos that are also contained on that disc?
Yes, they are.
Here at this time, the state would seek to admit states D as states 6, 5, D. States 5 and states E as composite 6.
Judge, my objections to this are the exact same
same
objections that I had to the last one.
Okay, and the discussion as to how it's going to be presented to the jury is still the same state?
Correct.
Okay. Based on that, I'll overrule the objection.
Last but not least, right now, I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as states F for identification purposes only. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is the a panel scan of the crime scene that they took.
How do you know that?
It has my initials on it.
Did you review it prior to coming to court today?
Yes, I did.
And does it fairly and accurately represent the panel scan that you created with regards to this case?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request to move states F in to evidence as states 7.
I have no objection, Judge.
Okay?
Judge, the state was permitted requested permission to publish states 5, the photos from the crime scene.
Go ahead.
Officer Poluso, is this the first photo you took on that evening?
Yes.
What date did you take this photo on?
4/25/2014.
And just move them up a little bit to the side so we can read. And does this document the address and the time at which you began taking photos?
Yes.
And what time was that?
Can I?
See, step down, it's easier to see.
23:31.
And can you translate to those of us who aren't familiar with
Sorry,
that?
so 11:31 p.m.
Thank you. And is this photo here, what is this documenting?
That's to show the street.
And on this photo, what is this showing?
This is of the residence to show the address number.
And is this view facing what direction?
I'm standing in front of it, so I'm facing, would be south.
South. This is zoomed in on here.
That's the garage.
Did you take any statements from any witnesses in this case?
No, I don't do the racial crime scene technician.
Is this a view of the same house?
Yes, it is.
Did you document any of the vehicles in the driveway or anything of that?
I just took overall pictures.
Bear with me, let me see if there's another one that's going to work a little bit easier. On this photo, what are you showing in here?
It's just an overview of the house.
And can you see on the house next door, what type of vehicle is parked there? The one on the right here, sorry, it's easier if you come down.
It's a Jeep.
And above the garage, up here, do you see that camera there?
Yes.
On this view here, which direction are you facing?
I am facing, it's going facing eastbound.
And this sign here, what is it?
That's the street sign, so that was Clare Ridge and Terra Road.
Is that, what type of street sign is that? Not the names, but the
Oh,
traffic
the-
control portion of
It's
it.
with the U.
Thank you. Is this showing the same intersection?
Yes.
Which direction are you facing in this photograph, which is, for the record, number DSC_0008?
I'm starting to turn, so that would be the southeast direction.
And is there an individual in that car right there?
Yes, there is.
Did you speak with that woman?
I did not.
And in this direction, photo, which direction are you facing? Number 9.
Facing south.
Are you using any special equipment when you capture these photos?
I'm using the tripods because it's so dark out, so I have to leave the aperture open So it's on a timer, so the longer it's open, the brighter it is. So that's why there's multiple pictures.
So this picture appears very bright in here. Is this how it looks when you're out there?
No,
And which direction are you facing in this photo? Sorry, please step down if it helps.
I'm facing south.
And then zoom in over here. What items are we looking at there?
Why don't you just stay down there
Okay.
instead of
Because I
bouncing
know
back?
that's there, so. I'll
Just speak up so the court reporter can hear you.
These items right here in the grass.
So that is, there's towels with suspected blood stains, and there's a shirt, and there's 2 shirts, and sneakers, and pants.
Judge, as to these photos, those photos, I'm gonna renew our, as to those photos, I'm gonna renew our pretrial instructions.
Okay. We'll go ahead.
Photo number 13, are you again using the tripod in this one?
Yes.
Are you using a flash?
Yes.
Is this the same vehicle where the woman was sitting earlier?
Yes.
Is that the same woman?
Yes.
What direction is this photo facing?
West.
The vehicle with the lights on here, what is that vehicle?
That's the crime scene vehicle.
Is there any specific method or path that you follow when you're taking these photos?
I started on Clara Ridge, so I first started taking at that house, and then from there, I started going, was it east, and then I went south.
Is there any reason for doing that?
It was just the method I started on.
Do you have a standard practice if it's taking overview photos versus detail? Can you explain that?
Yes, we do, I do all directions, so like north to south, south to east, to show directions, so you have a whole area of all the photos of everything. And then we work our way up to close-ups, and then I'll use number cones to do more close-ups.
Do you do anything with regards to distance in between various scenes? For example, do you measure between the yield sign that we saw earlier?
When we
and
took the sketch, there was we did take measurements.
do you recognize the officer in the vehicle there?
Obviously,
And And on this photo, which is number 25, what are you indicating and showing?
Those are just more of a close-up of the clothing.
And what does photo number 26 show us?
It's facing southbound and Power Road.
On this photo here, number 27. Again, it looks very bright. What additional light sources are being used to
I'm still
illuminate?
using my tripod and the flash, and I just, like I said, it's called the aperture, I leave it open longer, so then that's how it makes it brighter. So you can, to help me illuminate the whole photo, because if not, you wouldn't be able to see it like that.
So is this the nearest street light here, which is at the intersection of Claridge and Terra?
Yes.
Were there any other street lights that you were able to note in that area prior to getting to Miramar Parkway?
I believe it's the only one, other than houses having lights.
Photo 30, is this showing closer to Miramar Parkway?
Yes, it is.
Did you assist in putting up the crime scene tape?
No, everything was put up prior to me getting there, it was all security.
And the items that are seen on the roadway? Up here, these documented more so in,
Yes, they're documented in the overview, and then as we get closer, there's closer photos of them.
this looks, again, very bright. Are you still using the tripod at this point?
Yes, that's why everything looks like the lights look yellow and stuff. It's open longer, so it kind of seems like.
And photo number 35. And this shows what?
The street sign near my Parkway and Town Road,
And what is the traffic control device?
it's a stop sign.
Wonder if I might have some technical support?
If we're gonna do this, can we take a break? Just be done outside the church presence.
I'm sorry? Again, I can't hear.
If he's gonna do this, can we take a break while he does that?
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you please. I must have, I had to set it somewhere. Hold on, let me see. I need to check something.
Who is that free?
Okay, please be seated. George, you may continue.
I appreciate you bearing with me during our technical difficulties. So we had left off on number 36. The yellow stripe you see going across, what is that?
It's the crime scene seat.
And what is the purpose of that?
It's to seal off the crime scene to preserve it so no one will go on and walk on it.
Is this a security issue of any sort for the crime scene?
No, it's just a standard crime scene, so you have to put up tape to secure it, and then officers are outside of it to make sure nobody comes onto the scene.
At any point, were you ever told to look for a red solo cup?
No,
Objection to hearsay.
You saying?
Effect on the listener, Judge.
What?
Effect on the listener.
All right, overruled, go ahead.
no, I was not.
This is photo number 38. What direction are you facing in this one?
It's going to be more about heading the northwest.
And this image here, what road are you looking down?
On the main road on Miramar Parkway, so we're looking westbound.
Again, this appears very bright in image number 40. Are you still using the tripod at this point?
Yes, all my overview photos had the tripod if I went to close-ups.
And let me know when we get to that. This is 41.
It's on the tripod.
Image 42. 43. And then we're on image 44. What are we looking at in this photo?
There's a baseball cap right there. There's broken pieces of a beer bottle
Okay.
and a spout to the beer bottle. And there's a $20 bill over there.
And you say over there. Could you please point it out in the photo? What's orange there?
That's the orange, it's an arrow that we use. So I put on it to make sure it didn't fly away.
This is image 46. Is this showing the same as the previous image? That's the same $20 bill. And what's the purpose of taking out this photo here?
That's to show the address, so it's to show a location where we were, what it was nearby.
Now here in the bottom of this photo there is an orange cone. What is that?
Okay, so we use the cones for purposes.
So is it fair to say you take all the photos first and then go back and do the evidence collection?
Yes.
So moving back to Miramar Parkway and Terra Road. Starting over here with number 4. Is this the same baseball cap?
Yes.
Did you collect that baseball cap?
Yes, I did.
Number 5. Over here. What was number 5 used to signify?
That was for the beer bottle, the spout, and then broken pieces.
Did you collect all of the pieces?
Yes, I did.
Did you leave any behind?
I believe they were all collected.
And item 6?
Was the $20 bill, and that was collected as well.
Okay. And that's final picture 65. On this, what is in picture 65?
The $20 bill?
And what is in on the right side of that $20 bill? What's the image?
It's blood stains.
And what did you do to determine that that was blood?
Well, when we went to the lab, it was swabs for DNA.
With regards to the scene itself at Miramar Parkway and Terra Road, there are stains in the road. Did you do any testing to determine if any of those were blood?
No, I did not.
Do you know if any of those were blood?
All the stains seem to be, they look, they're oil stains.
Would that be consistent with being near a stop sign at a major intersection?
Yes.
So you also talked about the Pano scan. So Judge, with your permission, I'll publish State 7. And explain to the jurors, Officer Poluso, how the Pano scan works.
Okay, so it's an expensive piece of equipment, and basically it does scans. So it'll take a scan of everything to show an overall view of it all. Then I'm able to link individual photos, so everything that I took, I can link, so it's like a 3D version. So you'll see a scan in the 360, and then I can link the photos, and so when we click on each stuff, like the house and so forth, it'll take us to the photos.
So
Just make it a little easier so you can kind of understand the crime scene.
my understanding is that you can go and see it.
Yeah, on the 360. But it's a still camera, so that's why when you see them, when things move, it's going to look like that, because it's not a video camera.
So it's a panoramic camera, is
Yes.
that? So there's a couple of red dots in the image. Can you, is those the hot spots?
Yeah, those are the hot spots, so when you click on them, it's going to show close-ups. So my photographs that were taken before I linked it in.
So this is walking through the scene again, just a slightly different version. Now these photos are much darker than the ones we looked at before. Why is that?
Because this is just plain view, and it has the lights are on it, are just basic lights. So you're going to see what you're seeing by the eye of the view. So
Is this a fair and accurate representation of the level of light that was at the scene?
yes, it is.
Do you recall if this was done before or after the close-ups with the evidence markers?
You want to switch it?
Yes.
This was, I believe we did it, yeah, it was before we did the cone, I believe.
So the
No, I'm sorry. It was after the cone,
after the cones were in place?
Oh, yes.
Do you know if it was before or after the pictures were taken with the cones? For example, this links
We
here.
did it, I took photographs, she did the video, and then we did a scan.
Okay.
I am from the medical examiner's office.
And the things that you're looking at now in photograph number 85, what are those?
Those are bags that were taken off for the CT scan.
And is there any indication as to which went on which hand?
I didn't take them off the family, they did, so I don't know which one they were over time.
you want to resume your seat. Are supposed to change gloves?
Yes, it is.
And we Elaine, gloves? Thank you. Gloves. There you go. I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as States G for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that bag?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize that bag?
My signature's on it, my
And
handwriting's all over it.
has it been sealed?
Yes, it has.
Whose initials and ID number are on the back?
Those are mine.
And what is the date on there?
5/1/2014.
Where did you collect this item?
This was from Miramar Parkway and Terra Road.
And at what time did you collect it?
It was on 2:40 a.m.
I'm now showing what's been marked as States H for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
This is the sticker that was on the baseball cap brim.
And so let's go back to States G for identification purposes only. Is that in the same condition as it was when you packaged it on May 1st of 2014?
Yes, it was.
Any signs of tampering, opening?
No.
Here at this time, the state would request to move States G in as States 8.
No objection.
Okay.
So if you please open that up. Officer Poluso, is that the same hat that we saw in the photos from Miramar Parkway?
Yes, it is.
What processing or evidence collection have you done from the hat itself?
I swabbed it for DNA.
How did you do that process?
So I take, it's a swab. It's a Q-tip. I use distilled water, put it on the Q-tip, and then I swab it because I'm trying for contact DNA. 3 minutes. And then I did the brim and the rim.
And now I notice on the top of the brim, it's a little bit darker there. What is not there that we saw in the pictures?
I removed the sticker that was on it.
And what did you do with the sticker?
I fumed it in the fuming chamber with what's called super glue. And then it produces, it turns the fingerprint white. So I put that separate in a separate envelope.
And is that what we have here as States H for identification purposes?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move States H in as States 8.
No objection.
If you could open that one, I could just get a clerk for more.
Right,
please.
9.
9. Thank you.
The bag is 8.
Are there any rips, tears, or any other issues with this hat?
No, not aware.
And this, when you're swabbing the interior of the hat, can you show the jury to know which areas you're swabbing?
I saw all this.
Like this one?
You can't say all this, you need to describe it.
Yes, no, I'm about to, sir. Okay, so the interior of the hat, all the rim, this whole rim here, swabbed on the rim, and then the brim.
And when you say the brims, you're talking about the front part of the
Yes,
hat?
the front part of the hat.
Okay. On the underneath side or the
So
top?
all interior, all of this as well, I did.
And this is in the same condition as it was when you put it into evidence? And as to states 9, are you able to open that one?
Yes.
So this is the sticker that you took off of that hat?
Yes.
I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as states I for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is in that package?
These are swabs that I collected.
And what swabs are inside that package?
Swab from broken beer bottle spout, swab from the baseball cap rim interior, swab from the baseball cap rim interior and exterior, swab from blood stain front of the $20 bill, and then the swab blood stain from back of the $20 bill.
That envelope.
When I submitted it into evidence.
And the purple sticker on the back here. Oh, flip over, please. Is this a Miramar Police Department sticker or a Law&Crime Lab sticker?
I believe that's the crime lab sticker.
And so this contains, no, strike that, let's get back to that. Judge, at this time, the state would request to move states I in as states 10.
Judge, I have a brief concern. Can you come forward?
That is states 10. now showing you it's been previously marked as States J for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
And how do you recognize that?
that's my handwriting.
Is that,
And my signature and my ID number on the back.
and is that in the same, essentially the same condition as it was when you packaged it?
Yes, it is.
What is it?
It's the $20 bill with the blood stain on it.
And where did you recover that piece of evidence?
That was on New Markup Way in Terre Road.
And is that the same $20 bill that was swabbed and that the swabs were submitted in the previous exhibit?
Yes, it is.
Here at this time, the state would request to put States J in as States 11.
Okay?
11 is currency. Officer Poluso, if you wouldn't mind opening that up so we can show the jury, please. And if you'd be so kind to place that on the projector so that they can see. And can you show us where the blood stains were on that?
We can't visually, we can't see them because I swabbed them.
So,
So,
okay.
right
And you can
kind of see it.
Okay, and that's at this edge over here, you're saying? So when you swab the DNA or the blood, it is picked up and removed from the surface? You want to bring that back in the envelope, honey? Thank you. I'm now showing you it's been previously marked as States K for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes, it is.
And what is that?
It's pieces of the broken beer bottle.
And how do you know that?
My handwriting was all over it and my signature.
And is that in the same condition as it was when you packaged it?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, the state would request to move States K in as States 12 and publish to the jury.
Okay.
So please open that and take it out the contents. So while you're doing that, can you explain to the jury why these are packaged in paper bags as opposed to plastic?
Because especially for DNA purposes. It'll suffocate in plastic, and we don't want it to grow mold.
And if you go ahead and look in there, is that the same beer bottle that you saw on the scene that day?
Yes.
And if I'm going to go ahead and put it up there. Obstacles, are you able to determine the brand that was of beer bottle that day?
Black and green.
There is some white powder here. What is that?
That's the, when I was explaining before about the sticker, I put it into the fueling chamber, and I use super glue, and that's when it turns all white. If there's a latent fingerprint visible, it'll turn white.
Were you able to lift any latent prints from this?
Yes, what we do is we photograph it 1 to 1.
And these two fit together?
Yes.
Well,
Excuse me, can all of the jurors see that? I see some of you leaning back. Is your vision being blocked in? You can see it? Okay, very well. Go ahead.
and what other testing did you do on those shards of your bottle?
The spout, all of this was swabbed for DNA.
And was that the ones we spoke about earlier that were being evidence?
Yes.
Okay. And what areas of the beer bottle did you specifically swab?
I did the spout area here, so the exterior of it, and then the interior of the spout.
Okay, thank you so much. You can put those back in there. So you take a moment and look at these. Now, I give this back to the clerk. Thank you. So I'm now showing you it's been previously marked as states L, M, N, and O. Do you recognize these items?
Yes.
And how do you recognize those items?
These are the items that I collected. My signature and my handwriting is all over this.
And do these items in the same condition as when you collected them?
Yes.
And they're sealed?
Yes.
And in terms of, start with states L, what is that?
Brown. It's a brown belt and camouflage pants.
Are those the ones that we've looked at previously that were on the crime scene?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, the state would request to move states L in as states 12, 13.
We will review our consolidation.
And I'll hold up on publishing because I know we have time constraints. States M, What is that?
That's the white bath towel with those things on it, the tank top, and the white polo shirt.
And this is the same ones that we saw in the photos collected from the crime scene at 8516 Clarence?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move into evidence states M for identification as state 14.
Review our pretrial objections.
And is it admitted now?
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry. And on state N, what is this?
Those are the Nike sneakers that I collected.
And are those from the same crime scene?
Yes, they are.
Judge, at this time, the state would request to move states in as states 15.
No objection.
And last but not least, state O. What is this?
It's another bath towel.
And this is the same one we saw collected on the crime scene that we viewed
Yes.
closer. Judge, the state would request to move states O in as state 15.
We'll review our pretrial objections.
And Judge, I'll wait on publishing like I said.
Okay.
I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as states P for identification purposes only. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's the small baggie with suspected marijuana.
And is that in the same condition as it was when you collected it?
Yes, it is.
How do you know that's what's in that bag?
It's labeled that. It's my handwriting and my signature's on it.
And is it still sealed?
Yes, it is.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states P in as state 17.
No objection.
Now showing it's been previously marked as states Q for identification purposes only. What is that?
$20 bill.
And how do you know that's what it is?
Because it's what I wrote on here, and then you can also see it as well.
Is that the same $20? Where did you find that $20 bill?
This was in the pants pocket.
And is that in the same condition as it was when you sealed it up?
Yes, it is.
Judge, at this time, the state would request to move states Q in as states 18.
No objection.
And while you're doing that, if you could look at states R. What is states R?
It's the $25 that I collected.
And where is that from?
This is from inside the wallet.
Is that in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it?
Yes, it is.
And is that your signature and seal?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states R in as states 19.
No objection.
Yes. You could please look at state S for identification purposes.
It's the DNA spot card.
And is that, have your handwriting on it?
Yes, it is.
Did you collect that item?
Yes, I did.
Where did you collect that item from?
I got it from the ME's office.
And is that in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you collected it?
Yes, it is.
Does it have the purple crime lab sticker on the back?
Yes, it does.
And Judge, at this time, the state would request to move states S in as states 20.
No objection.
Now showing it's been previously marked as states T for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
These are the bugle swabs that I took from Demetrius Elder.
And is that in the same or substantially the same condition as it was when you collected it?
Yes, they are.
And with the addition of our purple lab sticker?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would request to move state T in as states 21.
No objection.
Thank you. And Judge, that's most of the housekeeping matters. Would be a good time to break for the day.
Okay. You are excused for the day, and we'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
I'm going to try to commence officers as early as, not around 9:30 as I can. Okay?
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to try and get, if you guys can get here now, I'm going to throw everybody out at 9:30, make them come back on Friday, much to their chagrin. I'd like to start as early, close to 9:30 as I can. If possible, I'm not suggesting you go out here, jump through hoops to try and get somebody tomorrow, but if you were able to get somebody tomorrow, let us know in the morning, and then we can just, go longer. I would never keep you past, as I told you, my little, 5:15, 5:20, depending on where a witness is. So if you can, fine. If not, that's okay too. And then on Friday, we won't start Friday until 1:30. And again, if you have somebody that can pick them up on Friday, we'd go a little later on Friday since we're starting a little later. There's nothing I can do about Friday morning, though. It's a big thing.
How late on Friday will you be?
Tell me, talk to me.
Well, I mean, I'm getting picked up Friday, I'm not going to call Friday.
Okay.
We're not to meet some friends from out of town, but
Just tell me what
I can stay
time.
as late as you want, but I just want to tell my
When do you
husband.
get, so it's,
I'm not going home, he's picking me up.
okay, it's the same, like, 5:15,
Oh, yeah, no,
5:30,
that's
something
fine.
that range, okay?
I was thinking 6:30, we're starting so late.
No. I'll let you get started celebrating earlier than that, okay? Okay, have a good evening, and remember, don't talk about the case. Leave any money there?
No, I thought I had a cup on the floor, I didn't want to leave it.
Don't worry, don't pick it up. Just some real quick on scheduling. How many witnesses you have scheduled for tomorrow? As many as we can get in, or do you have a set number? Because I know it's a lady from Alabama tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor. So she was set for first thing in the morning. She does have a flight out tomorrow evening,
Okay.
so.
All right. So, how much more time do you have with the officer? Just a guess.
15, 20 minutes?
Okay. And Joe up on a cross. Just a guess.
Under an hour.
Okay. Now, if I go, you don't believe me?
I said 59 minutes, that could be under an hour.
I don't know how long you're going to go. I just remember her testimony, from the other case, and I think if I remember correctly, it surprised me, the direct surprise, the cross date. I want to say it was an hour and 15, hour and a half for both. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same with y'all, but so that would get her out of here. And then what's after that?
Some of the detectives and a couple of their civilians.
Okay, but they're all lined up for tomorrow if we have to get them. We won't run out of witnesses, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Is Bertrand in there tomorrow?
No, Bertrand isn't until Friday.
$8 Toyota?
Yes.
4:30, and then Friday we don't start, obviously, till 1:30. And then I'm going to see what I can do with next week. If I can get some judges that, like, some days I only have 10, 12 hearings in the morning. But, it's like today, people walking out, can I call this that's not on the docket? Can I call that that's not on the docket? If I can find some other judges to take those, then we can start first thing in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, we can start.
Yeah, that's up, so I'm going to be here, not in another courtroom.
But,
Just let us know before 8:30 tomorrow. If that's what you're
no, I'm
saying.
talking, it would be Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Now, are we still on track for next Friday?
It depends on if it's Tuesday or
Well, somebody's going to Jamaica on Saturday.
Well, we're still waiting for your next week's meeting, so.
Well, that may go by the boards according to what she said today, but I don't count any chickens until they're hatched. Okay?
I'm having a subpoena issue that I'm really working on with. One of the law enforcement officers that we subpoenaed actually Clay. She now works with the Miami-Dade Police Department. We issued a subpoena to them last week. They accepted it and said that she was out until the 9th. We then contacted them today and they told us she's out until the 14th. And now they're pushing back on having accepted it because she's out. And so I'm asking the court to sign an order directing the Miami-Dade Police Department to accept this subpoena for Officer Clay. That's the only address that we have, otherwise it would be
I'll be happy to do that, but, who knows what they'll do with it.
I understand, but he's got a 6th Amendment right to go through the process.
I agree with you, and I'll be happy to sign it. I'm sure the state has objection to it. I'll be more than happy to sign it, so prep it. You want to prep it now? I'll sign it now.
Thank you so much, sir.
While you're doing that, you can read the actions, make sure they're done correctly, there's no issues.
Okay, is there, just from scheduling thing, is there anything unique we need to talk about, or just, I forget who it is, what's your name back there? Elaine.
Yes.
One of the jurors said they're going to Jamaica on Saturday?
It's next Friday night.
Next
Our flight's at
Friday.
8 o'clock.
Next Friday night.
It's
at 8
Miss,
o'clock.
hold on,